Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm going to be working on my comic as usual, except this time the whole thing is essentially done. The only thing that's left now is to do all of the word bubbles and cleanup. So, like 3 pages of this comic I did like maybe 2 years ago or something like that. Like a decent chunk of time has passed. So for those pages, I hadn't used Krita for those, and I'm just going to be going over the pages and just cleaning them up a little bit so that they flow more naturally into the other pages. That's about it. So I'll show you kind of what I'm doing. I already started. So I'm taking like this look and changing it more to like this. I'm just kind of editing it slightly so that it's more on model for the rest of the book. And that's really it. So that's what I got left to do. I'll be working these up, and it shouldn't take me too long. And then once these are all wrapped, then I can move on. Please feel free to leave any questions or comments in the chat. Do at Dave Raposa, and I will read them as I go. Okay, time to get into it. Last week's recording was incredibly based. Do you like my shirt? It says top cunt. It's my base shirt too. No, I just I saw this on eBay and I thought, well, that's a stupid shirt. I have to have it. I bought a black one and they sent me a bright orange shirt that says top cunt on it. And I went, well, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, it's kind of a shitty way to kind of go over the whole comic, or at least not the whole comic, but the first 3 pages that are in this style, to just kind of paint on top of them, but I think it'll work out. Try the woodcut ink brush and Rebel. Yeah, I'll try it out. Since I draw all day, how do I protect myself against old man pain? I have a trainer now, so that's helped. Looks an awful lot like a final page. This is actually page 2. I'm just editing pages so that they all look good together. But the book is done except for all the word bubbles and that sort of thing. Oh, my wife's in the chat, Kimberly. She says she just opened the computer to the Google search, how many magicians are in the world. You see, I was leaving that open for you because it was funny. And the page that I found said that they estimated that there was around like 100,000 magicians in the world. 60,000 of them are registered, and like 30,000 of them are professional. And what was funny about that page, why I left it open for you, was I was reading that information and I was like, oh, that's weird that somebody did all this math. And then there was one detail on that page that was so stupid. It was the guy said that, he said it multiple times, but he said that there's 100,000 magicians out of the Earth's population of 65 billion people. So I was like, who is this moron who thinks there's 65 billion people? That's why I left it open for you, because it was just so weird. Like, the page itself was weird, but then him just completely missing how many people are on Earth was what stuck me. That's why I left it there for you to find, because he's so stupid. You registered to become a magician? There's a king of magicians. There's a whole bunch of magician stuff. Trying to figure out exactly how much editing I'm going to need to do to make this look like it blends in with the rest of the comic. It's currently what I'm trying to figure out. How much rendering do I want to do over top of this to clean it up? I think I'm doing a half decent job of getting most of the way there. I'm not listening to the music that I'm playing in the stream. What I'm listening to is copywritten music. I'm listening to Depeche Mode right now. You're listening to robot electronic music. What happens to an unregistered magician? They take him. They put him in a glass cube and smash it with a hammer. They shoot their soul through a special kind of prism that blasts it into multiple realities at once, and then they're stuck there. It would be cool if they just put him in a box and sawed him in half for real. Just dissect them. They just blast him into space. Dude, the magic castle is exactly what I'm talking about. The king of magicians that lives there. Whew. Emperor. A dangerous person. I actually worked for like a year for a world famous magician. Like one of the biggest magicians in the world. And it was wild. It was pretty intense. I can't really say too much on it. I don't want to get in trouble. But a lot of funny things happened. I can tell you one in particular. I had talked to this magician on like a Zoom meeting, and we had this long conversation, and it was fine. You know, nothing I haven't experienced before. And I get to the end of the call, and I texted him after the Zoom meeting, because I just like to follow up and say, like, you know, it was great getting to meet you and talk with you about the project. I'm excited to work together, right? I say all that, and then he doesn't respond with words. He just responds with like 8 headshot photos of himself. I was laughing so hard. I was like, what the fuck is this? It was great. And just like all these beauty shots. I don't know what you can do with that information because you don't know who it is, but it was very funny. They're wild folks. Yeah, 15 headshots probably. My wife is correcting me. That's probably true. It was so funny. He used to call me randomly, like pretty much all day, every day for like a year. And it'd be like 2 to 3 calls a day. And the calls were so funny. He'd read me something he wrote, and like, what do you think of that? And I'd be like, I think it's kind of corny. He'd be like, you don't hold back, do you? And I go, no. And he go, well, thanks for talking with me. I'll talk to you later. And hang up. I was like, okay. It's kind of hard to go back through these and fix them all to look like the new pages, but I'm going to do my best to make these cool and have it all feel like it goes together. I want to tell you all so many things, but I cannot legally, I think. I'm pretty sure I can't. They're all so funny though, about working with this person. Hey Dave Raposa, any tips for building drawing stamina, or that is just built up with drawing more? I mean, honestly, it's like anything else. There's no secret. The worst thing I think you can assume about doing art for a living is that there's some magic to it, that there's some sort of secret thing that somebody like me who does it all the time can teach you. There is not. And anybody who tries to sell you something like that is a liar. All it is fundamental studies and pure dedication, repetition. That's all it is. It's just being dedicated to it. Like, I've been doing this every day for nearly 2 decades now. So that's it. That's how you build drawing stamina. I wish there was a secret. I used to ask people what the secret was when I was starting. I'd be like, hey, what's the best pen to use? And they'd be like, I can do this painting with a stick of dog shit. So it has nothing to do with that. And I'd be like, yeah, right. You just don't want to give me your secret pen. You son of a bitch. But there is no secret to it. You just do it a lot. You get better. And you don't even know you're getting better. You're just doing it so much that you're not even thinking. And then eventually you're on the other side of some skill wall that you never thought you'd get over, and you're like, oh, this makes sense. Suddenly it makes sense. And then you're doing better. Like, I kind of went through that again doing comics, because I was like, how do you get better at writing? And then I worked on Steve Lichman, and then we sold like a TV show, and then we wrote a ton for that. And then I was like, oh, you just do the same exact. I should just listen to my own fucking advice, because that's all it is. It's just, you just do it. Just do it a lot, and that's it. You get better. But I wanted a magic bullet. I did some stuff right. I like went and, you know, looked up how you best kind of think through story development in terms of steps. And that like structural stuff was helpful, but at the end of the day, it just came down to mostly just putting in hours, doing it all the time. But that was fun. Spent like 5 years or so just like writing a lot. Dave is lying. Hold on. I'm part of his Patreon, and he often mentions how edging before drawing is the ultimate secret. That's true. I use my AI blowjob machine right to the edge, and then I set a timer for my day, and I just start working. Yeah, artists are always edging. Let me see. Do I surprise myself by my own work? No. I'm never surprised. I just kind of go, all right, how do I solve this problem? And I just stare at it, and then I just start working. I have little breakthroughs all the time, which is nice. That stuff is more of like a relief than anything, because I'm just like, oh my god. Because, yeah, I put myself in high pressure situations, like doing the key art stuff for the Diablo work. That was one of those where they initially hired me to do some like posters for just their shop to sell, and it was around BlizzCon. So that was what I was brought on for. But I just worked as hard as I could on those so that they would hire me to do more stuff. And yeah, through that process, I was able to branch out and get that key artwork. And when I was doing the key artwork, I would kind of hit a wall, because it had been a while since I was really asked to do full-on paintings like that at that kind of level. Like, you get asked to do certain types of things for products, whatever, and sometimes it's pretty like, I don't know, I can kind of like zone in on it and do a different style or some kind of take on it that's interesting. But when you're doing key art for like a bigger game, you're kind of locked into making something that looks very done. Like, it needs to feel very marketable and mainstream, but have a feeling that's specific to whatever property you're working on. So it has a visual identity to it, but it's also just like very produced looking. And I hadn't really been doing that for a while, so I felt a lot of pressure doing that, and I surprised myself by kind of like quickly snapping back into like old gears that I had from when I used to do that work a lot, and that was nice. So in some sense, yes, that surprised me a little bit. You going now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all want to sing?
Kim's trying to distract me by singing Corn at me.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
It's been fun seeing your work in load screens. Yeah, it's weird for me. Like I've been playing the new season. It's really good. And I'm like sitting there, and then I go, oh, that's my dumb painting. I wasn't crazy about the latest one for that season. I feel like I had to compromise on a couple things that I wasn't happy about. So the next one that I do for them is going to be me without any kind of compromise on the art. So I'm happy about that. It's going to be very freeing. She memorized the lyrics of Twist. No, she's singing that one that's like viral. It's that y'all want a single, fuck that. Fuck that, fuck that. That's what she was doing in my ear. Let's hope next season can match your art. I don't know, season 4 is actually way better. I'm glad that it's at that place now. I know so many people had criticisms for it. I've been into it. But that is my favorite thing, is the snark for posting Diablo artwork. If only the game was this good. A bunch of those messages, and I'm like, I don't know, my painting is not that great. Do you remember your first nightmare? That's a crazy question. No, I don't. I have no idea. It was probably like a fucking goblin in my room. I don't know. I can tell you my first memory. I told it on here before. It's a classic memory. It's I was a kid. I had a diaper on. I don't know how old I was. I must have been pretty young. And I had a white dinosaur with red eyes, and I dipped it into my diaper, and I pulled it out, and it had shit on it, and then I dropped it on the floor. That was the end of my memory. And then I just went along my day. Okay. I think like the number one difference between these early pages and the later pages is the little teeny tiny details. I got a lot better at making just actual meaningful decisions with my line work rather than all these little teeny tiny things. I think I was focused on all that small detail a little too much when I did these, but I also fault the brush I decided to use for that, because I didn't have I wasn't using Krita at the time, and now that I'm using Krita and I'm using that inking brush in that program, I think it just helps my mind think a bit more efficiently, and I'm implying details better and all that. So that's been nice. Because the later pages are way more effective than these ones are. Like, I like these ones just fine, but they're a little too busy. You don't get the immediate read of what's happening. I cannot wait to be done with this. I'm so close. All the pages are done. Just got to do this to all of the 4 that I have in the beginning. And then I can call it. The last bit after I do all of the lines and things is I need to lay out the rest of the book, because alongside the comic there's going to be essentially like an art book of all the sci-fi stuff that I've done for my Starvale series. So it's just going to be that. So I got to make sure all those pages are good to go. Do you have any recommendations for World War II books? With the Old Breed is up there. This one's more like, it has more of like the hero angle to it, but it's still a really good book. Unbroken, I think that's the name of it. That's the one with the bird general. It's very good. I don't know, I've read so many. I have a bunch on my shelf back here. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Do I remember the first piece someone paid me to do? The first piece someone paid me to do. I honestly think the first thing I was ever paid to do was the Power Glove album cover I did for the video game cover band Power Glove. I think that was the first one I did. You can look it up if you just search Dave Raposa, and this is gonna date me, but the name of the album is called Total Ponage. Don't cringe too hard, please. I didn't name it. But yeah, if you look that up, you can find it. That's my first real job, I think, from somebody that like I didn't know. And then the next one after that was, well, I got like random client work after that. doing stuff for just like people's World of Warcraft characters and, you know, avatars, that sort of thing. Is this going to be only digital, or are you going to do a print run? Print run for sure. I'm going to do like a funding thing for it through Kickstarter or wherever. And then I'll post info about that when I have it ready. Are you still friends with all these art guys? You guys seem so busy. Yeah, I mean, I don't talk to a ton of people. Not because I have any like negative anything for anyone. I just kind of, you know, like after everybody gets to a certain age, it's like everybody has kids or there's shit going on, so you just start to slowly fade. And also, you know, getting older, it's basically just, I mean, I'm just constantly reminded how fast time's moving, and I'm kind of like just unaware. I'm like, oh right, it's been 6 years since I talked to this person. And it doesn't feel like that. Thanks, Knight's House. Okay. I actually don't feel too terrible about this so far. I think once I do my overlay, my soft light layers, and kind of make the lighting feel closer to the other one, I think it's gonna feel pretty decent. But if it's jarring, I'll just edit it again. Last thing I want to do is phone anything in on this project. I've already put in so much time. Like the problem with these older pages is that they just don't have the depth that the new ones do. I have to kind of give that in this painting. How would you go about learning someone else's art style? Would simply copying be enough? I mean, technically, yes, but there's also like a way of doing that where you're kind of consciously applying how you think that they are thinking about the forms. So I know enough about how I draw, that I can kind of like see somebody else's stuff and do like a decent approximation of like how they're approaching their stuff to do it. I'm actually half decent at matching styles for people. So I like that challenge a lot. But yeah, I think about that a decent amount when I'm working on something. And, you know, I need to look, or, you know, in the past when people would hire me to do things like other people, I would kind of analyze their line work, like how they kind of think through forms, and then try to adapt that into what I was doing so that I could do something similar. Like I had a job a while back. I think it was on like, it was back when they were making those like Alice in Wonderland movies and whatnot. And I was working with Bobby Chu and painting over his paintings, character concepts, to make them look more like realistic. So I learned a decent amount about like adapting styles and matching somebody else. It's a fun challenge. Yeah, that big cat's definitely into Miss Lasagna. Do you ever get any nerves or anxiety before streaming? No, I don't care. I think like, you know, when I was young, I had anxiety about public stuff, maybe when I was like in high school. And then I think my dad just kind of beat it into my head that like nobody's better than me. Nobody's better or worse than me. So what am I worried about? Somebody who has all the same fears as me judging me? Like, who cares? Like, we're all so similar. It doesn't bother me. I mean, it's actually like more relatable to be, you know, honest about how you're feeling and whatever. But just to think that like any of that stuff matters, it's like, there's just not enough time in the world for me to focus on any of that. And I just get less and less focused on anything like that as I get older and have, you know, I have a family, kids. It's like, I don't know. I can't get nervous about stuff. You're still young, Dave. I mean, I'm not old. I'm just saying that, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years. It's like I don't think about it. Can you talk about the process when doing concept art for movies, like the amount of time per piece, the direction, etc.? It's changed a considerable amount since I started, but I think I did like a concept a day at least, like a painted one. That's what I shot for. But I don't know. It just depended on what they needed and how tight the timeline was and the budget and all that sort of stuff. Certain movies allowed for more time than others. The movies I liked the most were the ones that I get to just like talk to the director every day and walk through their ideas of what they want to see. I like being at the initial phase of a project and just coming up with stuff. The most boring part is finalizing everything and coming up with like super clean finished paintings and all that shit. It just feels, you know, like it's, I feel like you could use your time better just in creating ideas. But in general, that's always like the more boring part. It's more like busy work. But ideation stuff is very fun. Yeah, I've streamed a lot, but I never felt nervous about it. The worst that I ever felt was my like very beginning of studying in front of people. I was like, God, am I doing this wrong? And then when I started to like read what people said about my study and approach and things, I was like, oh, nobody knows what they're doing. Okay, I'm all right. I think the number one thing I realized was that if I was doing something and moving forward, then I was doing more than other people. And the people who were like criticizing the way I studied, I just was like, oh, okay, well, they're not doing anything. So just by the sheer amount of studies I'm going to be doing, I will figure this out. And they're still going to be the people that are like criticizing people for not being perfect from the get-go. And that's useless. I always try to warn artists against like being hypercritical of other people or being like, how come this artist got this and I didn't, blah blah blah, because that's just nothing. It will get you nothing. It does nothing. It's bad for you. Just be happy for people and then do your best. Man, reminds me that just recently at a figure drawing class, some other attendees were talking shit about other artists that were talking shit about other artists in some local art school. Yeah, there are many ways to procrastinate, and that's one of them. Is to get involved in shit that you think matters that doesn't matter at all. It's like those sayings. You're never going to be on your deathbed telling your children that you wish you talk shit about more people. I think that's the saying. If you're not beefing with like 14 people, are you even a real artist? Yeah. It is funny, like it's hard to know like who the real like working artists are because you never see them talking shit or doing anything around, you know, like social media because they're so busy. You should aspire to be like that. But don't think I'm immune to it. If there's a piece of very funny gossip, I want to hear it. I still like to laugh. I'm just not gonna spread it or be mean. I just want to listen to the funny thing that happened to somebody. I'm still human. I still enjoy that. Thanks, Goran. Is this all of it? Okay. there's this one song that comes on my playlist from time to time, and it's this. It's called, I think it's called "Child, I Will Devour You" by Crystal Castles, and it was playing, like, that album was playing on loop when my wife and I were on mushrooms, and I made the mistake of opening up my phone and looking at my children for a second in a picture. Let me tell you, don't do that. And I saw, instead of seeing a picture of my children, I saw a vision of them at my funeral, mourning my death, comforting each other. And I went, well, that's kind of beautiful. And also fucking devastating. I was like, please don't do that. So every time this song comes on, I'm like, holy shit. It's very intense. Yeah. Existential insights from dark places, seeing ghosts of your children run around your house laughing while you pace around and go, holy shit. Uh-oh. What's the craziest job you've turned down? I mean, I probably couldn't talk about them, I guess. Because I don't want to, like, put anything out there like I have any, you know, I feel any sort of way about a client or anything. And most of the time, it's just a matter of, like, me being just too busy to do anything. Oh, I got one. I didn't turn this down. I didn't even know I was offered it. I was offered to work on Arcane before it got going in pre-production, and I just never worked on it. And it was funny because after Arcane came out, I messaged the director, I think, somebody from Riot, and I was just like, I said, Arcane's great. I said, I would love to, you know, work on the next season or whatever if you feel like you need that. And and he was just like, dude, I tried to get you to work on it and I never heard back from you. And I was like, oh, okay. What was the biggest bummer of a job? I'll give you a general one. I think I've told this a handful of times on here, but it was this one where I got to basically do a ton of work on a game and design a lot of stuff and whatever for things that were going to be like the final versions of whatever, but it was like blue sky phase. So everything was kind of on the table. And then a new creative director came in and took over for the person who initially hired me, and they started giving me direction that was just horrible. That was one where I quit pretty much right away. I didn't violate any contracts and quit. I just wrapped up what I was doing, and then I just exited. I was like, okay, this has kind of moved beyond the direction I was hired to, help with, and I told them that I didn't feel like I was the right person for what they wanted. But basically, the new creative director came in and told me that like I was doing some cool stuff, I felt like. And then the creative director came in and said, design me a character where girls want him and guys want to be him, and he needs to feel like a red sports car and like all this stuff. And I just it was so lame that I had to stop. I was like, so what is you need cargo pants and Oakleys and just stuff nobody wants? Is that what I'm trying? Like, I can't do this. I was like, are you Fred Durst? It just isn't my world. So I just had to walk out. If you're listening to this, I am making fun of what you said. I get why you said it though. There is a world where that type of thing can exist. Unfortunately, we left it behind in the early 2000s, right after The Matrix. Is there any newer indie comics you recommend? I'm not really reading anything, so I can't recommend anything based off of that. If you hear my dog randomly barking in the background, I apologize. I think my wife accidentally left our dog in the backyard. And then she left. She went to the airport to go pick up a friend. Dave, you're saying girls don't want to be with a guy who's got cargo pants? I'm saying they do. It's primarily in the Midwest. And, I don't know, certain areas of Massachusetts and New England. There are places in this world where it's still like 2001. That's kind of here in Colorado. It's very strange. You'd be like, we'll be out and I'll look around and I go like, I didn't know you could buy those clothes. Like, I didn't know you could look like that. Like, it feels like a time capsule. And not in the way that, like, old things are cool again, because I get that. I see those kids. But the one where it's like, you're earnestly Durston. I don't know where they're finding these things. There's nothing wrong with it, if that's what you like. I just think it's funny. Is this color over inks or straight painting? This is me editing an old page to get it to match the newer pages. That's really it. And I'm just going to flip this in Photoshop, all of my paint overs on these symmetrical pages here. And then I gotta do a soft light pass to kind of bump all the colors up a little bit. Okay, this thing's about to end. I was like, I'm pretty sure my YouTube playlist is about to be over. I'm just not listening to it. I'm listening to other stuff. Yeah, let's put on the next one so I don't have to think about it. Would I ever take a studio position? No. Definitely not. I've had opportunities to. I just said no to all of them. And I've worked in a studio before, just, you know, on a short whatever contract. Okay, let me turn my screen off for a second. All right. And then I'll pull it up in Photoshop and finish the rest. Oh, that's not what I wanted. This is the one I wanted. You all right, P. Garza? Seem like you're falling off the wagon a little. Thoughts on autistically hatching form over using soft brushes? It's so time consuming but so fun to do, and the result is always much more pleasing to me personally. Yeah, do what you want, you know? Don't worry about, you know, your process being silly or something. Who cares? I just say do what you love to do. I might have to get up for a second and get my dog. Have you taken the boys to see Garfield? No, I haven't. Not yet. Gotta make a day of it. and go, this is important, you guys. This is very important. You have to like this. Lots of color adjusting. It's looking better though. Do I have any advice for people who want to give up on art or comics with AI art and the job market and animation and concepts being not ideal? A lot of negativity is going around. Any thoughts? Stick with it. Just stick with it. I promise. I promise we'll get to the other side of this. It's not, you know, it's not the end. People are going to tire of shitty AI art or just the lack of personal touch. If I had to give any advice, I would say lean into doing like traditional work, because that's going to be a thing. Once everything digital could be fake, all the in-person stuff, all of the traditional real things are going to become valuable again, because this crap that's everywhere is going to become so ridiculous and just like abundant and empty and, you know, worthless because it's just too much, that people are going to start valuing real things again that they can touch and real people that they can talk to and all that. So I think that that's going to really be the thing that happens with all this, is that we're going to rely way more on in-person stuff and real human connection. That's going to become the valuable thing. So in some respect, maybe digital art becomes less reliable as a source of income, and more traditional is where you want to be. Will I have another interview with another artist in the future? Yes. I already have one planned. I was supposed to have it up already, but we had some problems coming together on scheduling. But it's okay. It's still happening. I'm watching my son because he's sick. He's coughing a lot. So I'm just making sure he's cool, since I'm the only one here. I was up early this morning helping him out. Because he was up and just going, "Help me!" Nothing wakes you up faster than your son screaming, "Help me." Hey, P. Garza, turn off the caps. Ridiculous. Is Dan doing all right? There's a notification that he was sick. I don't know. I haven't talked to him, so I'd have to check on him, see how he's doing. Yeah, I have a funny feeling that I'm gonna have to help my kid out in a second. He has not stopped coughing. He's not up yet, but... Dan's got the flu. Dang. Yeah, right, Johnny. You just want to be cool. You know how cool it is to have the flu. I just left on White Bat Audio, which is just a YouTube channel that has a bunch of royalty-free songs. Okay. Alright, I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, cool. What do I want to do with this? There's a couple things I'm not crazy about. I mean, we'll see how it all looks. Maybe it looks better. Maybe it'll look a bit better once I move it over with the textures and things. Let me save this. Who are these characters? They're just original characters. Yeah, I can show before and after. I'm about to do that because I have to plug this back into the other page that I have all the textures on and stuff. So this is the before, and that's the after. This is what I've done today. So that to that. So now I have to do that about, I don't know, whatever, 2 more times, and it's done. Yeah. I mean, it's good enough. It'll fit with the rest. I'm not super worried about it. Oh. That's right. I gotta put it underneath the textures. Okay. And just do a CMYK test. I'm losing some stuff, but it's nothing. It's not going to be that obvious. Like you can see some of the like cyan in the sky is getting muted in the cat and the boy's face a little bit. But otherwise, most of the other colors are there. I didn't really lose anything too drastic on the bottom panel, which is nice. Cool. Save that. Yeah, the other pages I'm like super happy with. So this is page 2 of the comic. I'll pull up page 1 because I have that one done. This is page 1 of the comic. It's them like arriving to this place. So I like this one. I like the repeating shapes and whatnot, and the colors here. So it goes that page and then this page. There's a little bit more I could do to make this match. Maybe add in some more of those like magenta colors. Let's see. How could we do that and make it not look shitty? That work? Slightly closer. But I like this one a lot. Yeah. I was going with the Miyamoto design principle for video games, which is design the first level last, because you will have already, you know, figured out your game, so you can take all of that and kind of apply it to that introductory page. So that's, I left this page to be the last page that I inked, so that it, you know, comes together and feels like the total whatever experience I've had with the comic so far, art style wise. And I feel like that was a good idea. So I'm probably going to do that for future stuff. Or at least maybe like do the first page of an issue at the end or something like that. But I felt like that was good for this. Were the panel shapes inspired by anything specific? No. Not really. I just like weird stuff. I like, you know, Art Nouveau shit, Baroque design. I like a lot of like 70s inspired stuff. You worked in comics for 12 years and never seen anything that looks quite like this. Yeah, I was trying to do something weird. Just something a little different. I'm gonna keep going with it and do more books like this. Sorry, I'm just kind of looking at it. I mean, I mostly try and do like repeating shapes and things, and I try and make each page. Well, the goal was to more or less make each page like its own, almost like a print or something, where it didn't feel like it, I don't know, like it was just telling a story. I wanted to also feel like a designed page so that it felt like it was also an illustration in and of itself, like as a whole, that it worked together in a cool way. So that was mostly what I wanted to do. It just, you know, like very purposeful. I don't think I nailed that with every page, but these first two are pretty close to that. But doing these panel layouts is so difficult that when I do Starvale, I'm not going to be able to do like, I probably won't do the same exact type of thing that you're seeing here, but I'll definitely do something different, hopefully. But yeah. Okay, I'm probably gonna call it now. My wife's gonna be home soon. We have a guest staying with us for the weekend, so I'm gonna be a person Thank you all for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. This was actually a successful stream. I'm so glad that I was able to fix this page. Yay. Very happy. That gives me hope for all the other 2 pages I have to fix. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out. I'll be back next Thursday. And yeah, soon enough this thing will be completely done. It's so close. I'll probably do one of these pages off stream just to kind of flow through it, and then I'll be back and maybe I'll do the last page that I have to do on here. But yeah, thanks so much, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.